Greetings, everyone. I just wanted to make this welcome video to Patreon for you to get to know me a bit. Maybe you want to come join. So my name is Suzanne. I'm living in Denmark. I'm living on an island called Falster. It's in the southern east of Denmark in Scandinavia. I am a creative. I'm an intuitive. I'm a channeler and a singer. And so I chose to create this Patreon to share songs, ceremonies, and spiritual guidance, because I channel grandmother here in my heart, and she comes with so much wisdom to help me, to help us come back in this true alignment with love, with the earth, with spirit. And I want to tell you a bit more about this journey with grandmother to give you an idea of why and how it happened, and maybe you can feel into this energy. Maybe you want to follow along. So I do share some posts that are public and free, and I do share a weekly vlog each Sunday for paid members of the path. So if you want to get these inspirational videos, spiritual guidance videos, techniques, experiences, storytelling, it's every Sunday I post them, and the tire is called The Path, so check it out if you're interested. So back in 2019, I was on a journey with a technique called soul art, and I want to really recommend you to dive into that journey. If you're a creative spiritual being, I recommend Laura Hollick from Canada, who has these different online programs where she teaches you the soul art technique, where you use creativity and your intuition to get messages. And I have moved from drawings and paintings to creating my art with natural materials. So I was mapping my body on our lawn here back in the garden. I'm just looking at that specific spot. And I was mapping my body with flowers, with crystals, with wood, all these different sacred objects that I intuitively chose to create the shape of my body and to fill it with these different sacred objects. And you have an intention, you create this piece of art, and afterwards you interpret the stories or the message that came through. And while I was interpreting and opening myself to the answers of this soul art piece, I felt the urge to make sound. So I can tell you that from a very, very, very early age, like almost, I've been singing as a child, and up through my youth I sang in different bands, and also as a grown-up started creating my own songs, and around, I think maybe in 2000, around that time. So I have a long journey with singing in all different kinds of areas, but so I'm very comfortable with sound. It's like home to me. So I sat with a soul art piece on the lawn, and I just felt an urge to investigate what sounds would come through me when I held on to the different sacred objects that were part of this soul art piece. Let me just make yet another recommendation, an acknowledgement of the woman who also helped me open my voice to intuitive guidance, to use the voice to honor the day, to celebrate and sing ourselves awake. That was how I met her. Her name is Miranda Rondeau. She's a frame drum artist, drummer and singer, and she teaches this frame drumming. So check her out. I'll write the names of both these teachers below. And when I embarked on her invitation to sing ourselves awake, I opened even more up to the intuitive sound coming through. All right, So back to 2019, I was holding these different objects from the soul art and kind of infusing everything I love, creating, being in nature and singing. And so I just played, you know, this openness that the child has and the artist has of playing. So I held on to different objects, and that was all from, you know, walnuts to crystals to flowers to wood, different sorts of things. And I felt like doing different sounds to each of these sacred objects. And I tried not to think about it. I tried not to interpret. I tried not to control and just let it flow. So it was all kind of different sounds, from umba umba to wah. And then when I came to the middle part of my body, around the stomach and the heart, I have placed some white stones. I don't have them here. They're over there. Some white stones that I received from a dear friend. That's not true. I actually collected these stones myself on Iceland, the island up north, because I was visiting this friend. Over another story. But I was holding on to these white rocks from Iceland, and I was beating them together. Felt like holding this rhythm. And I felt this urge to sing and beat these rocks. And I felt this village of voices, village of, like an African village. I got that vibe singing through me. And I was just enjoying the feeling. I was just like now getting all tingles and excitement of connecting with the sound of the community of this village somehow. And I just enjoyed it, and I kept on going with these different objects and all these sounds. And I made a video. If I find it, I can share it with you, a video of this soul art piece. So it's many years ago, right? So where is it? What came out of this journey was yet another opening into sounds and what they contain of healing and of messages. So I didn't understand the words that came, but I did understand the emotions, all right? I could feel the different energies. I could feel the emotions within me. They were mirroring something. And I was so interested how it was about that, the things that I placed with my feet on this silhouette. Imagine like a silhouette of me lying on the lawn, my whole entire body. I was just so intrigued. How could it be that those sacred objects made one sound and those other sacred objects made yet another sound, and some of these objects just made me make one long note and some make me make rhythm. I was like, wow. I was so blown away about this experience. So that deepened my journey with sound and with soul art and with nature. And slowly I began to open more and more to this intuitive sounding landscape or language. And around the same time, I discovered people on YouTube talking about light language. And I saw them speaking in some kind of language and doing things with their hands. And I was like, what is this? I never heard about that before. But I could somehow relate, even though I felt like the sounds coming through me was more like an earth language. So inside me, there was a division there. There might not be, but to me, it felt more true to call it an earth language. So I tried to just dive into this investigation and open myself. And I just spent days walking around in my house, touching different objects, making sounds. And so it went like a long journey for a long time. And I don't remember when that happened, but someday I think it was because I was writing it down. Sorry, you can hear the beep of the washing machine saying, now I'm done. All right. But I was beginning to write things down as it was sounding. So I was writing these words that I didn't know what meant. I knew the feeling of them. And they were often very heart-centered coming here. I could feel it here, the messages, right? Often they had movements. I just started to journaling, writing it down. I don't know, I don't remember how it happened, but somehow I typed it into Google Translate. This is really, really weird that happened, but I typed in, and I don't remember. Yes, I did try to test different African languages on Google Translate to see if anything popped up, and it did. I was like, when I press this African language and I try to spell the sounds, meanings come out. I can read it in Danish and like, what? And then this journey started about me trying to text and put in all these earth language into this translation tool, into this tech, and getting all these sentences in Danish. I was like, oh, what is this about? And you know, when you're trying to spell a sound of a language you don't really know how to spell it, right? So if I felt the words Ayamaguna, how do you spell Ayamaguna? And I just practiced different things in different ways. Ayamaguna, A-Y-A, Aya, M-A, Ma, Guna, G-U-N-A. But you can spell it in 3 different words, or put them all together, or with an I instead of a Y, and so many different opportunities. And so I just texted all of these different possibilities in, and I wrote all the different meanings. And sometimes they were really often the same meaning. Sometimes they varied a lot. Sometimes they were the opposite, the contrast of each other. So, so this went on for many years, writing this down and keeping it mostly to myself, because I was like, this cannot be true. This cannot be true. How can this happen? How can this be a thing, that this kind of African language come through? But I decided just to trust it, to trust this feeling, because I feel it in my heart. So it feels very kind and loving. And the words that came out meant, often they had a meaning that made total sense. Often they had a meaning that I didn't understand, but I wrote them down. And what helped me to interpret was also the movements and the feelings inside. So if I got a word or a sentence that could mean very opposite things, I would try to compare it with the emotion I got or the movement and see what makes more sense here. And in that way, I was kind of led into what these words could be. And as time went, they came back, the same words again and again, meaning the same thing. So I kind of started, not a library, but slowly I recognized some of the same words. What I think, what I rationally think or try to understand about why this came is because I think spirit or the ancestors or our guides trying to come through an open portal in us or in our energy field. And where was I open? I was open in my voice. But if that is what I think now, right? If this African language that I now call grandmother, that feels so much like the ancestry or the ancestral realm, whether that be the African ancestors or the whole humanity ancestry or my own grandmother, I don't know specifically, but it's the grandmother feeling of this wild, wise, old one that are no longer here, but speaks through the earth, through my heart and my voice. So I began to speak with her as grandmother. So in order to try to understand why grandmother came through first these stones and these rhythms and this feeling of an African village, and then through this earth language, and then through this app translating African language into Danish, I think it's because the guides try to get an opening somewhere, a crack somewhere. And through my heart and my voice, I was open. But if they have come through in Danish language, I think my mind would have stopped it. And I think my fear of getting mad or like insane, the fear of insanity would block that. I don't think I would be open to channel in Danish because I would be so scared. What is me? What is the guide? What is, So I think it was kind of the way in through a whole nother language. Because when I channel grandmother, she comes with this earth language that I don't understand with my mind in the moment. I need to go through the translation and the emotions or inner visions that I get to understand it. So it's kind of like the way I can relax and be a channel of it. If I'm too scared, I am blocking the energy, I'm blocking the channel. So there needs to be trust, total openness, surrender, and love for it to happen. And that is my explanation of why it came as it did. I know there are many ways of channeling, and I think that the guides or the energies that come through with messages, they find their way. And some people are totally open with their own language, like Lee Harris, I can recommend Channeling the Seas. Or some might be open through their dancing. Some might be open through their creativity, through their art. Some might be open through the clairvoyance or all these different, aspects of seeing or hearing or sensing, some sense, some smell, and there are so many different ways. So that was a long story about grandmother and the channeling part, and I really wanted you to know this because it's getting bigger and bigger in my life. It's more and more what I do in my spiritual work. It's more and more how I guide people through this communication with grandmother, because she sees from the heart space. She sees from earth. She sees from a whole bigger perspective than my earthly Suzanne can see. So I'm 47, I'm a mother, I also have other jobs as a teacher in art and crafts and nature and all sorts of other things where I am communicating, and helping people gather and stuff like that. And at the same time, I have my own company, Kraftkvinden, where I help people through song, through ceremonies and spiritual guidance. So I have a lot of things that I offer, but the grandmother part is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I could talk for hours about that journey, and it excites me so much. It excites me so much. If you have any questions to this, feel free to write below this video, and I would love to share more about it if it interests you. And what else should I say? Well, I'm a singer. I play the guitar, and I also channel songs and energies. And so here on my Patreon, you can go into different collections. There's one called Songs and Sound. There's a concert from YouTube where I play some of the songs I've written. I have also put different songs that are just coming on my walks, like little songs or prayers. And yeah, so you can find them. You can also find some ceremonies channeled on the new moon in a collection there. And of course, if you want to be a paid member, join the path each Sunday for an inspirational video from me. And I just wanted to wish you blessed Black Moon. Today is the day before the new moon, so I'm tuning in and blessing my path and blessing all the ones who have helped me this month. And I thank you who are listening. And if you already are a member of my Patreon, thank you so much for being here. This is an exciting new journey beginning this January 2025. And I'm learning so much. I really like this platform. It's very, for me, it's very calm, inspiring, peaceful, and it's just something totally different than Facebook and YouTube. So I'm very pleased with this new platform, and I'm very excited about you who are supporting the path. I hope you get inspiration, and you can always ask me for a question, or if you want me to film for the path about a certain subject, or you want me to ask grandmother to talk about a certain subject, you can always do that as a path member. Thank you so much. Bless you and bless your path. With love, Suzanne.